this is such a loaded question. Gary Wayne, what do you think about Bigfoot? Go.
Well, I think it's those creations that was before the flood, and I think it's after the flood as well. So I think that there's a lot of correlations between Bigfoot and Nephilim, but they're distinct. So I think it's what I call the creations that are outside the Nephilim and the Rephaim. They're kind of like that umbrella group of violations against the law of creation. And, there's a lot of connections between these creatures because they're all intelligent. They all tend to have a different smell about them. Bigfoot, lives in caves just as Nephilim and the Horim, Horim means cave dweller. They're known to live in caves and build on cities and stuff like that. And there's a connection between Bigfoot and UFOs. And there's a connection between Bigfoot and the little people. And these things are intelligent and they can communicate. There's tapping and noises that they make. They're known to be blood drinkers. There's stories of them crossbreeding with. I mean, there's a lot of different correlations.
Joe Rogan, for example.
When I talk about, so either they're a creation where they're manipulating other animals together to create them, or it is a Nephilim kind of creation, not DNA manipulation. And there's a fallen angel or a god in the Gnostic book of the secret book according to John. And he's part of the 7 angels established or created by Baoth, the head ruler. And I think and he's also called Samael. So to me, that's Satan. I know the Gnostics will call the marriage and Baoth, the god of the Bible. That's their inverse, turn everything upside down and inside out to confuse people. And he creates these 7 angels. These are like the 7 Satans that are talked about in Enoch, and the 7 mountains and the 7 stars and the 7 wandering stars that the book of Jude talks about. And one of them, his name is Adonai. Says, I think one of the Dead Sea Scroll Gospels has it recorded. There's a few different, but it's the same angel. Interesting. And he's described in this book, the secret book according of John, of having the face of an ape.
Oh, really?
So if you imagine that a seraphim who has the face of a viper creates Nephilim and Rephaim, and he has DNA that would pass on because he needs to have that Oikatarian creates that DNA that would pass on, and that's why you have so many kings depicted as serpents throughout the world. They look just like their parents.
Interesting.
Angel, and you've got all in creation creator kings and the Nagas in India. You've got the feathered serpent, or in the plume serpent with the Kishamaya, sort of on and on, all these different serpent type of gods. Osiris was a serpent god. You had Zeus as a serpent god. The parents were mostly serpent gods, but there were also some other faces to these parent gods. You have Mahis or Nergal, one out of Egypt, one out of Nergal. Have a lion face, and we get lion Nephilim in the Bible. The lion men of Gad and the lion men of Moab, and that goes back to the Hebrew word Ariel, El being an angel, and Area meaning lion, lion of God is what it actually means. It makes sense that you could have had an offspring that looked like one of the fallen angels, and in this case maybe Adonin, and or other angels in or fallen angels in, let's say, the sub. You got Hamuma was maybe one of them, and then you've got Su King that talks about that, but be more elephant than like Ganesh out of the
Right.
But
Yeah.
there are a few that are connected to monkey-like beings or gods, god being produced offspring just like, and the Nagas produced a race of kings and warriors. And you also have another group that's out there, you've got the Anunnaki, which everybody sort of pictures them as these bird-like beings in Sumeria, as well as being related to the mythos. Well, they also produced offspring as well. And then you get these birds called the Tengu in China, in India, and in Southeast Asia, and in Japan. Tengu. They produced offspring that these bird-like looks to them, and they were warriors and the priests, and they were the inventors of the martial arts in Japan.
Oh, right.
Akisha Maya had the Xibalba, her owl or bird-like demigods who lived in the other world and were the enemies of humans. And within that group, you had Camazotz, Camazotz. Google Camazotz, you're going to get this outfit that looks like the Batman outfit. And these were all offsprings of the gods. And so the connection there is that there are many kinds of Nephilim that were produced. The serpentine one that Akhenaten would come from, and Akhenaten, if you Google a picture of him, just look at that serpentine-looking face. And again, that's over 1,000 years after the flood by biblical chronology, or over 1,500 years after the flood by secular chronology. And those are diluted, but he still has that protruding chin, high bones, those large wraparound eyes, and that elongated serpentine skull. So they did take on the appearance of their fathers, even though those looks and that size has been diluted over. So I think it's very bold that these Bigfoot or Sasquatch or Yada, and it's all around the world. Mythos, just like pyramids are all on all continents around the world, except for Antarctica, who
well, there's probably a good reason for that.
They're underneath Antarctica.
In all cultures and on all continents around the world, little people are. This is a history that crosses all cultures, has an accounting of it.